Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is this situation where they've suddenly found out that a whole bunch of stars have vanished. Also have this partial interview of this Ross Coulthard, where he talks about how our military is able to track UFOs based on frequency, and they know, where they're coming and going, similar location. This is about an Italian journalist who claims to have been abducted by these aliens, and these are supposedly photos of them. I'm doubtful. Let's see. Also have this. This is an old video from 17 years ago, 1987, showing some UFOs coming and going. And I also have some more of these videos from, I think this is a Marty Stubbs. This one here. I got this one here. And then I have this video. Now, this is supposedly Martin Stubbs, but this is about this guy, I think it's Martin Stubbs, who was recording NASA transmissions using a cable television satellite. Yeah, apparently the cable station that he worked at had a satellite that was powerful enough to capture every single transmission for 5 years that NASA was downloading from some of the STS missions. And this guy went through them, and he determined, based on all of the footage that he looked at, that there were at least two different entities, living or phenomenon happening in space. One of them are these giant bovine type creatures that I've talked about that can only be seen in the infrared spectrum. They're anywhere from 2 miles to 5 miles wide. And then there's these other little flashes of light that he said that they're very imperceptible. And he explains how he was able to capture it. But anyway, we'll take a look at that. Let's see. This is a video about these crop circles that showed up next to the facility that transmitted or sent out the signal, or sent a signal out into space, and they think that this was a response. And it was put in crop circle. You can see here that what they think this is a portrait of an alien, and then there was a message left also. And then last is this little video here that shows these little nanobots snagging sperm by their tail. I think this is an example of a man interfering in nature unnecessarily. But anyways, we'll take a look at that. So take a look at here. This is this guy, Anton Petov. He's one of these guys who's completely aware of the number of stars out there, but thinks it's ridiculous that alien life exists.
Or another seem to have completely disappeared in the last few decades. And although initially the scientists discovered only 100 of these stars, with the help of the citizen science project known as the VASCO network, the network that you can learn more about from this paper right here and that you can also join yourself, they now have identified approximately 800 of these unusual objects. Or technically, they're not there anymore, so I guess missing objects. With many such disappearances currently not having any good explanation at all. It's as if something either covered the star, or if it just shut down its activity and became something entirely different.
Anyways, check that out. I don't want to play too much of his video. You have to go to his channel to check that out. Let's go to this one here. Okay, now this is Ross Coulthard. He's, I think, an Australian, New Zealand reporter, journalist. And he's been making the rounds lately, going on a lot of different talk shows, talking about all the interviews he's done. But check out what he says here.
Detect and anticipate these objects way back 30, 40 years ago. They've known about this and they've been tracking them with aircraft. And I've spoken to people, Bob Fish is one guy I name in my book, who's a former very, very highly cleared, top secret SCI cleared communications expert who was working in the offices of a major defense contractor. And he was briefed about an incident where I think the first time it happened was in 1957, And it's actually, there's a paper I've discovered that actually talks about this, where the frequencies for the object and its movement are described and tracked by this craft, by the US Air Force craft. And then I've spoken more recently to people who've told me, I mean, Bob told me on a surveillance aircraft that was doing routine communications monitoring off Cuba during the Cold War. That guy briefed him about how the plane that he was in was diverted to a location off Florida, that's all he'd tell me, where UAPs were detected coming in and out of the water. That is, craft coming in and out of the water.
See, hear that? Now, again, I don't understand how someone like this, right, who's supposedly intelligent, knows that our government has been detecting craft coming in and out of the water in the same location since 1953, and it doesn't dawn on him that they're not visiting, that if these crafts are coming in and out of the water from the same location since 1953, that, that they might possibly live there. That would be like saying, watching the house across your street and watching people since 1953 go in and out and then concluding, oh, they're just visiting. Anyways, check this link out. Okay, here. Yeah, this video, this is, this is basically what it's about. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but apparently this journalist is claiming that he was abducted and, taken aboard a craft. And these are photos of some of the aliens. But I think that it's just distortion. I mean, again, you know what? I've been wrong many, many times. So I'm definitely open to being wrong. To me, the strangeness in these images comes from the lens or the camera that it was taken with. It was either a pinhole camera or a camera with a really wide lens, and it's just, it's distorting these images around the edges. That's just my conclusion. But I mean, again, I could be wrong. So you want to watch this video, check it out, make your own determinations. Okay, let's go to this one here.
UFOs attributed to a mysterious man named Martin Allen might have actually been shot by Walters, who researchers say wanted out of the public spotlight. Watch this accelerating UFO, which in slow motion doesn't look like a missile or known craft. Nor does this, which moves like the one in Walters' beach video. Here's a similar one in a third clip. It shows the craft becoming a silver streak, zooming away.
These crafts are moving in the exact way that Bob Lazar describes how the Sportster models work, where they're essentially using those gravity amplifiers and, grabbing the space to where they want to go and wrapping themselves around that space and then basically rebounding like a rubber band, to wherever they want to go, which is why we see them disappear that way. So, I know, interesting video. Link will be in the description. Let's go to, oh yeah, this is just another one of these Marty Stubbs videos. Check this out. You can see lots of movement out in space. Yeah, look at this here. Something moving. See, I think these are like one of those bovine creatures. Anyways, there's this video here, and then there's another video here that shows movement over Texas. I mean, yeah, check this one out here. Let me go full screen on this. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at all that movement up there above our skies, and this is happening 24/7. Okay, let's go on to this next video here. Now, this is the video that where they interview Martin Stubbs. It's an hour and a half long, but he explains how, or they explain how, I think it was back in the 80s or something like that, when more and more people were using satellite dishes, and how some cable companies had used a more powerful satellite that was able to pick up NASA transmissions. And this guy Martin Stubbs worked at one of these cable stations and recorded 5 years worth of footage. And let me see. Here, this is where he explains it.
Hi, I'm Martin Stubbs, and I'm a resident of Bowen Island, Canada. Bowen Island is a small island of about 3,000 people just off the coast of British Columbia. The city we directly commute to on a little ferry, 20-minute ride, is the great city of Vancouver. And it's here that I was able to discover, through NASA's own video downlinked from the shuttle, 2 types of phenomena that, from my estimation, should not be there. The first phenomena is a spherical phenomena. It's the best I can do in terms of explaining it. And the second phenomena is a phenomena that is virtually invisible to the human eye, but when filmed with a CCD camera and you break the video into frames, and there's 30 frames per second. Then you split the frames into fields, because each frame contains 2 scan fields. And it is in those fields we have discovered our second space phenomena. It's not a matter of finding something that is a reasonable doubt scenario. It's more about, let's just keep collecting, studying, and analyzing, and eventually the jigsaw puzzle will come together, and it's finally happened. I held a very privileged position in the city of Vancouver. I was in charge of, for the past 20 years actually, community access cable stations. And those are public stations that...
Anyways, he goes on to explain how, he was able to get all of this footage. But, I think the cylindrical phenomena that he's talking about, I think are giant space cows. And then the light phenomenon, to me, seems like there are maybe some kind of space flies or some type of space insect that just, that buzzes around or moves at phenomenal speed. And he's able, there's footage of it. So it's definitely there. It's not something that he's imagining. So anyways, check out this video. It's an hour and a half long. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Yeah. Now this one is about these crop circles that were discovered in the field where the original transmissions were sent from. Check this out.
But in 2001, suddenly the media paid some interest, because then something appeared that was almost impossible to overlook. Right behind me is Britain's largest radio telescope, the Chilbolton Observatory. And here it was that the greatest sensation in the crop circle history was to appear in the fields right in front of the telescope. On the morning of 14th of August 2001, a formation was discovered which was different from any other previously seen. From the ground, it looked like a tangled mess, wisps of crops spread around in no system. However, in the evening, with growing shadows, a picture appeared, unmistakably that of a face. That picture represented a whole new technique, a screen technique, the same that's used for printing a picture on paper. 3 days later, the face was joined by something that looked like a data strip. Rows of counters made out of standing and flattened crop. But soon an astonishing similarity is discovered. In 1974, the astronomer Carl Sagan composed a message that NASA sent into space from the Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico. Binary figures which constituted a graphic code presenting key factors about humans and the planet we live on. 27 years later, an identical pattern appears in a crop field right in front of a similar radio telescope. However, on closer inspection, it seemed to show that the code contained some fundamental differences. Sagan's message explained our calculation system, the dominant chemical substances within the elements that create life on Earth, about our DNA code, humans' height and quantity, and that we live on the third planet in our solar system, and lastly, a sketch of our radio telescope. The message received described the same calculation system, but that silicon is most dominant in life forms in contrast to carbon. The drawing also clearly shows a humanoid figure with large head in relation to its body. It's also explained that they have an extra string in their DNA, are approximately 4 feet tall, inhabit the third, fourth, and fifth planets in their solar system, and have a population of around 21.3 billion. Underneath, the telescope has been replaced by something more complex. 1 year earlier, a strange crop circle had appeared in the same place. Is this the same illustration as in the sender's code? Is this the correspondence radio telescope?
Anyways, this goes on. I don't want to play the whole thing. Later on, there's another face that shows up. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I think it's this one here.
Computer language that you encode the alphabet in. And of course, I then started to get words forming out. And I thought, I'm getting somewhere here. So I then did the whole thing for the whole lot and got this message.
The message is in English and reads as follows. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Many have been surprised by this message. Are there aliens with such faces that we should be aware of? Or is this a picture of the sender? Does this indicate the start of actual close contact with neighbors in the universe?
Yeah, one thing to consider, these crop formations happen at a highly secure facility, where that radar facility is. There's no way any people could, be outside that facility in the dead of night making these things without getting caught. So, this is definitely, something strange that just, like they said, it appeared. No explanation. Anyways, a link to this will be in the description. And then last is this video about, look at these. They made these nanobots. Let me just make this go large screen. Check this out real quick. You see, I think this is an example of humans interfering in nature where it's completely not necessary. I found out a few years ago that, this notion that every single individual spermatozoid there, is all racing towards the egg to try and fertilize it. Well, that's not necessarily true. They said, some of the little tiny spermatozoids, for whatever reason, weren't programmed properly, and they're like retarded. Spermatozoid. They're doing something, but they don't know what they're doing. There's other spermatozoid that just aren't working, so they're like zombie spermatozoid. And then there's the spermatozoids that are like assassin spermatozoids. You know, like if the woman you're sleeping with happens to also be sleeping with another man, and you know, sperm can last longer than a few days inside of a woman's body, right? If your sperm encounters another man's sperm, well, you have assassin sperm that's going to try and kill that other man's sperm in order to, you know, keep your DNA going. But anyways, I thought this video was very interesting. You know, nothing to do with UFOs, but still interesting. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like things like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll have more things like this. Take care.